Yeah. 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 Well, that done. Well, we're live once again. We meet again. Broadcasting to you from the historic Hotel Orloff here in rural retreat. Welcome back to Saturday night, Saturday evening after dark as the sun sets here in Virginia. We have 0 viewers, which is probably the ideal number of viewers. I have the link in the chat if you'd like to come on. All right. Amazing. SpinnerX says, I guess it's the chat amongst yourselves live stream. Seriously, though, it appears Gratu has lost partial connection or total connection. Yeah, I guess I'm back. How about that? Incredible. All right. Well, 6 people watching a spinning ball. I can't do anything with this internet. Completely worthless. Supposedly, there's a way to connect directly into. Maybe I should directly wire instead of using Wi-Fi. I don't know how to do that. That would require some knowledge. Well, how about that? Incredible. I'll be right back. All right. Oh my God. I guess we're broadcasting now, huh? Incredible. So, notice the new trend. It used to be when you finished making a transaction in a store, they would say, have a nice day. That became kind of a cliche, or sometimes they'd say, have a blessed day. Have a blessed day. They wouldn't say have a blessed day. They'd say have a blessed day. But usually you'd hear have a nice day. Now, I just heard have a nice day today, but usually lately I'm hearing have a good rest of your day. That seems to be the new thing in 2023. Have a good rest of your day. And the rest of the day is the first rest of the day of the rest of the days of your life. I read that in a fortune cookie. I got a bad headache. I've decided to cut out not just soft drinks, but all sugar. And so when you cut out soft drinks, you go through a period, 3 or 4 days of headaches. That's the way it is. So that's apparently what's going on. So I've got sunglasses on. I've got a headache. I've got a backache. I'm probably not even audible on the internet. If anyone wants to come on and talk about important things like what people say to you after you make a purchase, sometimes they don't say anything because now more and more they're getting rid of human beings and they're making you deal with robot tellers. And usually they talk in robot voices. But I see at the Dollar General, they've got a little voice that says, well, have a nice day. I mean, it's probably regional. They have the ladies read different things in different accents depending on what part of the country you're in. So if you're in New York, they probably give you more of a East Coast accent. But then what are you shopping in Dollar General for anyway, ladies and gentlemen? So last night we watched a movie from 1936, The Great Ziegfeld. There's a no one's saying anything. It's still the same people. Okay, well, we got 5 viewers. Local theaters playing Indiana Jones. I see that marquee, and there's a little bit of a pull to my heart. It's like, oh, Meyer's here. Hello, Meyer. You got the same sunglasses. I got a headache. I don't even know why I'm doing a live stream. But how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Doing good.
I can't hear him. Okay, it's probably my fault. Oh, Gotham's here too. Gotham says hello. Something's probably wrong with my computer. Meyer, say something and they'll see if I can hear you.
Hello, can you hear me?
I bet I turned my sound down. Let me see how do I turn the sound up on a stupid computer? What is going on, man? Sound. Where's the volume control on a computer? Wait, let me see if I'm hearing you, Meyer, on the broadcast. Let's see. The broadcast. Let's see. So, say something, Meyer, so I can see if it plays on the broadcast.
Admiral Rachel Levine.
So, say something, Meyer, so I can see if it plays on the broadcast. Oh, I'm not hearing anything, man.
Admiral Rachel Levine.
Oh, yeah. Say something, Meyer, so I can see if it plays. Yeah, I heard it on my phone, but I'm not hearing it here.
Admiral Rachel Levine.
Oh, yeah. So I gotta figure out where my volume is. Where is the volume on a computer? I heard it on my phone, but not hearing it here. Let's see. Oh, yeah. So I gotta figure out where my volume is. Where is the volume on a computer? I heard it on my phone, but not hearing it here. Put in the chat, ladies and gentlemen, how you adjust the volume on a computer.
You want me to try and back out?
Where's the volume? Oh, there's the volume. Volume's turned off. Okay, why would they be turned off? Okay, I think it's working now.
Can you hear me now? Yeah? Yes?
Okay, fantastic. Okay, so anyway, I just sitting here with a caffeine withdrawal headache because I've decided I'm just going to cut out all sugar, and that'll probably maybe fix blood pressure problems, weight problems, all kinds of stuff, because I'm scared to go to a doctor's in 2023. I was just talking about how people now, is it that way in San Francisco? Do people now say, have a good rest of your day?
I think I've heard that, but I haven't heard it too much.
Maybe that's a thing over here. I'm just wondering when this started. I suspect the communist plot. It went from have a nice day to have a good rest of your day. I guess you can't go back to the earlier part of the day and make it good. So I guess that's why they have a good rest of your day. And I haven't heard a single good review of this Indiana Jones movie. I mean, they're terrible reviews. And I was thinking about this because I see the marquee on this theater, and it's like I feel drawn to it. It's like it's Indiana Jones. And then I realized all this stuff we were made fun of for life. Hey, can you hear me now?
You're having connectivity issues. Yeah. You froze and then blinked out for a second.
What's wrong with this? Darn it.
You want to try and restart? How many people are watching? You're 19 minutes in because you're frozen on my screen. And you're frozen on my TV.
Let's see what's going on here.
We have, according to my TV,
nothing's working.
But I don't know. And now he's gone, you guys. So you guys can probably hear me. And since I have you here, we're going to do a Bao Zhang Mian Bao review. I just got back from the store, and the lady at the store always gives me free stuff. So when she's ringing me up and she puts the stuff in the bag, she'll throw one more thing in, and then she'll smile at me and she'll nod her head. And then today, just about 7 minutes ago, she put this bao bun in my bag.
So that was a present?
Never had one before. It's soft. It feels like it's a soft bun. I don't know what it's going to be.
You think it might be like a Twinkie?
I don't know. We'll just find out. It smells like a Twinkie. Right out, as soon as I opened it, it smells like a Twinkie.
Okay.
Oh. but it's got coconut.
It's filled with napalm.
Yeah, it smells like a Twinkie with coconut, and
Okay.
on the side, it looks like it has some sort of lemon.
That's innovative.
Like a lemon.
I don't want to say what that looks like.
I'm gonna go right in there on the side. What was the filling? Okay, it's a bean paste. It's just a coconut pineapple paste, and it's folded, so it tastes a lot like those Korean bean paste buns. It's just like it's a Chinese bun that's been, I guess, like kneaded and rolled up with a little bit of paste inside. I mean, the bun itself is better than the paste.
Yeah.
The bread tastes better than the filling. That's all it is. I wonder what they charge these people for these.
Huh.
I wonder where it's made. There's no English writing. Wow. Okay, so let's check this out, guys. There is no English writing on the entire package. There's not even like ingredients. Everything, I can't even see where it comes from. It's all in Chinese.
I mean, it's Chinese, not Vietnamese. It's definitely Chinese origin.
Yeah, I think so. I would say yes. It's Chinese. Definitely.
Well,
interesting. So that's kind of cool. Anyway, I don't know. That's what we tried. The Baojiang Yan Bao.
Drew is barking at a 3-year-old girl just barely off of training wheels riding around.
Oh, wow.
Obviously a menace.
Anything going on in the town this weekend for 4th of July? Like tonight? Are they waiting for Tuesday?
I think something, fireworks tomorrow by the lake, which I've never been to. And today I watched, got up early and watched South Carolina. Trump had a rally there in the middle of a little town there called Pickens.
Mm-hmm.
And today's Saturday, so yeah, I don't know what's going on. I think there's some fireworks somewhere, but I don't know what's going on. I'm just kind of trying to survive caffeine withdrawal.
When did you stop? Just yesterday?
Several days ago, but it hits you usually on the second or third day.
It's pretty hard. I've done it a couple times myself. Where I switch to nothing but water. I'll go back to just doing nothing but water.
Yeah. Or my wife is this stuff is like it's bubbly water, but it has no sugar. And then if you put a squirt or two of this stuff in it, it kind of gives it a sweet flavor. It's flavor infusion, 0 calories, sugar, or carbs. I don't know. Just gotta. But I'm realizing. I guess what I'm realizing is that everything we love has been taken over by people that used to make fun of us for liking it, and then they just kind of worked. They just wound up becoming heads of studios or companies, and they don't have any real respect for the stuff that we loved, and they remember how much they hated us in high school, and because that's what it feels like with this Indiana Jones thing. It's just an insult in all of that.
What do you think it would have felt like if you were into rock and roll and you were a greaser, and then in 1975 or 74 they come out with this show Happy Days, and they kind of make a mockery of what you grew up with, and they make it all kind of goofy and stupid and lame. Would that be the same? I mean, I liked Happy Days, but maybe somebody who was 10 or 20 years older than us wouldn't have liked Happy Days because they felt like they were stealing their thing, right? Kind of like what with us.
Well, I I think back to how Happy Days started. You mean if someone was like a hoodlum, like a in and out of prison, would they have approved of Fonzie? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure, but I don't think I think you're right. I don't think it's equatable. It just came to my head, and I thought of that, but it's not even close
What I
because
think
actually,
it's
it's not
more
really.
like if I've never really had any interest in football, but they put me in charge of the NFL, I might like just have focus on the cheerleaders for 15 minutes and then just, oh, here's a little bit of football, now let's get back to the cheerleaders because that's more interesting to me, right? I might say
Mhm.
let's just bring in girls and make it more like the LFL. We don't need guys, and the who wants to look at a bunch of guys, that may be how I would. And I don't think that would go over well for people that have been into football all their lives. And um, if you really love Raiders of the Lost Ark, and then you say, well, the new Indiana Jones movie, he's cringing and always in fear and has to be rescued by a well, relatively young girl in her 30s compared to him, and everything. They just emasculate all these heroes. They did it with Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, now Indiana Jones. Everybody they can do it with that's male. They just want to get rid of that, and
I
it's
don't
just
even notice it. I don't even notice it. There's probably something wrong with you that you're noticing this because I don't even notice anything that you're talking
well,
about.
that's because you don't even pay attention to this movie existing.
No,
But
I'm joking. You know, I'm joking. But that's
oh yeah,
usually
I know.
what
It's
you
just, but
gaslight.
I
You
can't
gaslight me
avoid
by
all
saying that.
these negative reviews, and it's just like, why are they doing this? It's just like it's not fair. I'd like to go see Indiana Jones tonight. That's how I'd like to spend Saturday night. A new Indiana Jones. Although I didn't ever go see that last one. I heard that one was bad back in 2008.
I never finished it. I
I
saw
saw a
it.
little bit of it on cable, but it looked pretty bad. The one with Sleepy LaBeef in it, or whatever his name was. I always call him Sleepy LaBeef. That makes my wife laugh. I think his name was Shia LaBeouf, and she just thought that name was funny. I said, "Well, Sleepy LaBeef was a rockabilly musician." That's so I hear Shia LaBeouf. I'm like Sleepy LaBeef, and I said, there was this movie where he played a caveman and he ripped a guy's arm off and beat him to death with his own arm. Jerry Lee Lewis never did that. I mean, he was crazy and a better musician, but he never got to star in a movie playing a caveman. Speaking of her, in about 8 minutes, I got a driver somewhere. It'll take me 5 minutes, and so if you want to sign off or take over the show for about 5 minutes, you're
Oh,
welcome to.
that I already did the bun review.
You already did the what?
The bun review. We already looked at the
The bun
bun.
review. Oh well,
Um,
I think you've got more things to entertain. I don't have any. I'm sure I've got things to entertain people with, but I just came on here seeing if there's someone I could.
Oh my gosh.
The Easy Comic Reader says Drew set off my dogs.
Oh
He
my
was
gosh.
the freak of the week this morning on Dr. Silverage's show, or what do they call it? The nut of the week.
I didn't know that. Haven't watched the show yet. I was when you went live. I was in the middle of watching Micah's interview with the comic collector geek,
Oh, I watched that.
but I haven't watched the morning show. I haven't
I
watched.
watched, well, I was watching the live coverage on my big TV from Right Side Broadcasting of people moving in to the place where Trump was going to talk. And then on my phone, I was watching Dr. Silverage and Rod and Shannon's show. And then when they were done, I saw that Graphic Man's show and interview was up. So I watched that, but I was always dividing my attention between two things.
Mhm.
So yeah, oh, see, I said so yeah because I was watching that show. Graphic Man showed some of his art. Well, where are you at in the interview?
Just about halfway.
Okay, yeah, it was cool to see Graphic Man in a different venue. Um, and you see the origin of his idea for the olive oil pre-code horror comic book cover. They come up with the idea right there live on the air because that show is over a month old. So I've got an interview with Roseanne Barr with the man whose name cannot be spoken on YouTube, AJ. Roseanne Barr apparently lives like an hour and a half away from Austin, so she came in to be on his show, but he wasn't there. He was off, looks like in some hotel somewhere. But anyway, she was in the studio, but he wasn't. They do apparently an interview that goes for a couple hours, and I haven't watched it yet. I'm just recording it because you never know when things will be wiped off the internet.
Mhm.
And they kind of took her completely out of context, her sarcasm, and just cut a little excerpt out of something she had said on some popular comedian's podcast a couple of days ago to make it sound like she was making horrible remarks like Kanye West did. But if you watch it, anyway, apparently she explains it all here. But so, yeah, no, I guess it was last Saturday. We were on that really long live stream when Gotham City bought all those comics. That was insane. Gotham City, have you bought anything today? I almost hope you haven't. We've got 8 people watching. Yeah, my brain isn't functioning. It looks like the internet's working better though.
Yes, it's running fine. I got nothing going on. I've got my kids are coming over tomorrow with my grandkids, and we're going to go to the zoo, and then we'll hang out here, go to the beach after the zoo. So I'm going to spend the day tomorrow with family.
Yeah, that sounds like fun.
It'll be great. I'm looking forward to it.
I was also watching some of the Crypt Keeper of Castle Hills. It was a show I hadn't seen from a little while back, where he's talking about favorite monster movie memories,
Oh, I haven't seen that one yet.
and he's talking about some guy that lived across the street from him when he was a kid, that was 4 years older, that had seen 13 ghosts, and was always telling him how great this movie was, and he was just like couldn't wait to see this movie. And then at some point, that guy from across the street called his house real late at night and talked to his dad and said, "You've got to wake him up and tell him that this movie's on." And he told him the next day. He said, "This guy, I don't know why." He said there was some movie called 12 Soldiers, and it's like, "I couldn't wake you up. You wouldn't wake up." And he said, "I'll never forgive you. Why didn't you try harder?" And then he said, then some kid later, a few months later, said, "Oh, I saw this movie on TV yesterday afternoon." It's like, "Oh no, that was 13 Ghosts," because I could tell from the plot description. Then he said he never saw it till he was 30 at some Blockbuster. He rented the VHS. And it's like,
Oh, that's brutal. That's an incredible story. I love his videos. He has great stories. That's a great story. I always loved that movie. So I saw that movie little, like when they used to show, when there was a rotation of these monster movies on like Saturday and Sunday television matinee. So that show has a big hook, right? Because one of the main characters is a kid, right? Is the son, right? Isn't it a kid that at the beginning, that and there's a book that says 13 Ghosts on it. Does he have a cute older sister?
I believe so. Yeah, I need to watch that again.
It was very good. I remember loving it as a little kid. So I can
see
why
I've got an original Ghost viewer. I was just thinking about that, and then it gets you into this. So where is I'm sure it's in a box. When I moved, I put it in one of these model kit boxes where I keep my little small.
Hold up so you could see the ghosts, the one that they gave out the theater.
Yeah, I have the one from the theater, and then there's a smaller replica of it that comes with the DVD. So I've got a smaller replica, I believe, somewhere. But I had an original. I imagine I still have it. It's just. But what I can't figure out is where my All-Star 58 is, man. That was not something that happened in the move. I couldn't find it before I moved, and there was no one in the house, no one in there stealing the first appearance of Power Girl. It just, I wonder if one of my earlier episodes of this show, I was showing it and then I put it back in maybe a magazine box and it's just in between two magazines, like, and it doesn't, you can't see it because it's smaller. There's no reason why it would be gone. I wouldn't have thrown it in the trash, and it's a childhood copy, and it's not a super high dollar book. You could get a, well, it is to me now. $20 is high dollar to me right now, but I mean, you could get a replacement probably for 80, 70, $80. I mean, that's pretty expensive to me, but not by the standards of other people on YouTube. It's like, it's spend thousands a month. But that drives me crazy when things just disappear. It's not like I know what happened to my King Arthur castle. I knew why that went, but there was be no reason for that to disappear. I don't know. So, if you discovered anything cool as you're going through your stuff?
Not really. Nothing recently in the past couple days because I haven't really done anything the past couple days. But whenever I find something that's somewhat cool, I'll make a video about it. But I
You've
haven't.
got to clear out your garage. Is that going to be a problem?
No, all that's down there is a surfboard and my car, and that's it.
So you'll just keep the surfboard in your house. That'll
Yeah.
probably look an apartment. That'll look cool, actually.
There's a bunch. There's a stack of them already, and the only reason it's down in the garage is because it's an 8-foot surfboard, and so it'll fit inside the apartment, but it goes all the way up to the ceiling, and so that's why it's in the garage. So it's the longest surfboard I own, but it'll
Oh,
still fit in the house. But I've got a rack in the bedroom, so it just belongs on a rack in the bedroom. I just kept it down in the garage because it's so big.
yeah. Oh, my wife is now late. She should have been down at 4. Hold on. I'm gonna put on some shoes so when she comes down, I'll be ready to immediately take her. Hold on.
All right. Hope everybody's doing well today. Everybody out there. I haven't looked at the chat yet. You look at the chat and see who's watching. Easy Comic Reader is out there. Good to see you, Easy. And Kevin from Gotham City Comic. Spinner Rack was here. We're all still here. But hope you're enjoying your Saturday. Able to hear me. I'm probably not talking very loud.
Shit. Oh. All right. What is going on in the chat? Graphic Man says, "Hi, Meyer."
Oh, there he is. Hey, Mikey.
And Easy Comic Reader says, "Hey, Meyer."
Hey, Easy.
Um, Anyone that wants to come on, and you're welcome. Put the link here again. I'm just doing the stream because I'm miserable and in pain and have a headache, and it's like something to distract me from that. Is that why they have AA meetings? I think.
Yeah.
Mine is Dr. Pepper Anonymous. I'm trying to kick that. And all that.
It's an effective coping mechanism, is what they call that. Is what
Yeah.
you're doing? You're using an effective coping mechanism.
Yeah. So, yeah, Graphic Man, I suppose you saw that your interview with Comic Collector Geek went live this morning. So that's cool. I knew it would be a Saturday because that's the day I think he puts up interviews with people. So, so there.
I like these
Did you
clouds.
hear about the burner phone that Hunter Biden had? This phone that he gave to his father that he paid $300 a month that could call anywhere on the planet Earth. And in some of these documents that have come out, the phone number was there, unredacted. And this reporter, pretty famous reporter, apparently, or renowned reporter. So, well, I've got some questions. I'm just going to try calling this number, and Joe Biden answered just recently. This moron answers this phone that they were using to because they didn't want to be, they're shaking down foreign leaders.
No, I didn't hear about that. I haven't heard about that. So you just told me.
Oh, there's Toddy Walnuts. Good evening,
Hey,
gents.
All I heard is
I have
the
no
love
idea, but I
story
look
of your
okay.
father.
Oh yeah, you look fine. Everything. It was a very good interview.
You looked great.
Yeah,
I haven't
camper
finished
all
watching it. You looked fun.
Well, if you're done with the camper, you can come on if you want. There'll be a reunion from last Saturday, but I don't think I don't think Gotham City Comics has bought a new. I hope he hasn't. Imagine if he had someone come in with more books today. Oh, there's Graphic Man.
Hello.
Hey there. Yeah, your interview went live today. It was pretty cool.
He told me he was going to give me some advance warning.
Oh well.
No, I've been cutting, sawing, drilling, and then when I had a break, I get to mow the lawn. So,
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Well, this starting to look a little cloudy outside. They said I've never heard this kind of forecast. They said there's a good chance of funnel clouds, but not the type that reach the ground or will cause any damage. But if you spot some, let us know. The little robot voice is like,
yeah,
what funnel clouds? I guess they're just saying you might see some rotation. That's weird.
Yeah, that would make me want to walk all stooped over when I go out to the car.
Yeah. I was telling Meyer I'm trying to kick all sugar and soft drinks, so I've now got to about the third day where I'm starting to get headaches. You got to go through that caffeine withdrawal or whatever. So, which is why I always fail, but this time I've got to do it. I'm
still a Dr. Pepper. I probably always will be.
Yeah,
it's my one vice.
Yeah. Well,
root beer and milk.
Yeah. Why would I want to be totally healthy and give this wonderful body to our current administration to when I might as well enjoy myself and toss back a Dr. Pepper.
Yeah, really. Yeah.
So I guess I heard briefly, I just got on that you're waiting for your wife to come down. You got your shoes on. So when she comes down, you're leaving.
At some point, I think it's the exact same thing. It's like Groundhog's Day, that we did last Saturday. Remember? No, or was it? Why did I have to? Was it last Saturday that was that last Friday?
Oh, when you left me and Meyer here with Gotham?
That was a Friday, wasn't it?
Sounds like a Saturday. I don't know.
I left to go get food.
Right. Well, our food was delivered or something. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's what it was last week. Today I've got to take her for something else at 4, but she's running a little late. So that means I'll be a little late in picking her up. I guess it'll be all right. But anyway, so yeah, it's a similar thing. I don't know, man. I'm just.
So last night I was on the Geeky Puppet Show, And Dr. Silverage joined me and Eric Breen,
Uh-huh.
and we read Avengers #9.
Yeah, I heard him talking about that.
Wonder Man. Dr. Silverage read the part of the Executioner with the voice of Dusty Rhodes. And that's tickled me and Eric.
I don't know what his voice sounds like because I'm not a wrestling expert.
He's a America Dream, Dusty Rhodes. And he was just this big, chubby wrestler from the 1980s.
Okay.
But he had the gift of gab. And so.
Well, see, I would like to do. I tried a couple of times reading Golden Age comics from some website that didn't have that many books. But I was just doing it myself. I would love to have someone do it with me, but I was kind of doing it seriously. But I'd sometimes add in a few expletives just to amuse myself. I don't think I'd do that now, but I kind of like to do serious ones. But the last time I tried to do that with other people, I kind of felt like it was a fail. They were doing Hostess Twinkie ads,
and I thought your Cadbury the Butler was perfect, but
apparently some word balloon no one read, and I said, "Oh, that must be my word balloon," and I offended the guy running it, and he had us redo the whole thing. And I said, I feel like I've been punished by the teacher. To heck with this.
Yeah.
I'll do my own streams, but it wasn't the same people.
Right.
It's like, no. The internet's for fun. When people start pushing my buttons, like that guy in Canada
but you can do a great little stuffy British butler. I said you could do a great one of those.
I can do a lot of voices.
I can't. This is what I sound like for every voice I do.
Well, I used to try to make my own vintage radio shows. Like you were talking about radio shows with should we call him CCG, or I don't want to just call him the Geek. Well, Comic Collector Geek's a big mouthful. That's where you need an acronym.
Yeah.
His name's Alan.
Alan,
right?
yeah.
Oh, okay, his name. You haven't using his name. Alan, right. Okay, that's better. Yeah. Yeah, I guess it's better to really use people's names. But anyway, I would make my own radio shows during the summer, when there was nothing to do. I would just put in sound effects and music and because I was inspired by the Fireside Theater. It was a comedy group, and they did a parody of an old time radio show in the early 70s called Nick Danger Third Eye that was so perfectly, it sounded like an old time radio show, but it was insane. It was like Harvey Kurtzman mad.
Give me that pickle.
In the middle, Roosevelt interrupts to let you know that Pearl Harbor's been bombed, but then he said, "Well, I've decided to surrender, and now let's get back to all listening to Nick Danger because I'm watching Nick Danger. We're just surrender to the Japanese." It was great.
Danger was great. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be nice to make up another updated version of the War of the Worlds where they come down now currently and they meet with Biden and, they blow up the Capitol and people are running. And
we were talking about this like a week ago. I think it was Meyer. And was it you, Meyer, that we were talking about War of the Worlds? Who was I talking?
We were talking about Worlds. Yeah, we talked about it.
And I was saying there's an updated.
Oh, yeah, you two were. Yes, that's right.
Was it all three of us?
No, but I remember watching you two. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You can hear that updated version where it sounds like 70s radio, and then it goes into that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't even know what radio sounds like today, and they're about to do away with AM radio.
Yeah, I think it's gone.
And the new cars, and once that happens, AM will just go away. And that's because that's where a lot of AM radio is almost all right-wing political talk now. So that's the real reason they're pressuring these car companies.
That's
to
right.
get rid of it. Although there's a great. Oh, okay, hold on. I got to take my wife. I'll be right back. Yeah, I'm here. I'm ready to take it.
I hope she got my message that I was going to be late.
She's probably used to. I'm on a live stream. I was talking to.
That's great.
No, that's all right. Hold on for a minute. It's my regret.
I'm like an anxiety attack.
I'll be back in about 7 minutes.
Okay. All right. Okay. You're not frozen, are you, Micah?
I think I am. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you, but okay, you're back now. There you go.
Oh, good. I was getting ready to type, I'm frozen, so you'd read it at least.
Yeah.
Did he say 6 minutes or 6 hours?
He said 7 minutes, I think.
Okay, 7 minutes. Oh boy. Yeah, this feels like deja vu, you know.
Yeah, I think this is how it started last week.
Yeah. Wonder what he's listening to in the background.
I don't know.
It's Alex Jones.
Oh yeah, it might be that Roseanne Barr interview he was talking about.
Oh,
He was saying that Roseanne was just interviewed. I saw some thumbnails this morning when I got up. I haven't watched it. But I saw that there were videos posted. She made an appearance or something.
So it won't offend me if you saw that I was on that Comic Collector Geek show and didn't watch the whole thing. I understand people got things to do. How much did you watch?
I'm halfway through. I was watching it right when Gratu went live. So
okay.
I just now am paused. I'm halfway through.
Okay.
Right now, you guys are still talking about, or maybe it's not even halfway through, maybe 20 minutes in. You guys are still talking about the beginning of your collecting. He's asking you about what stuff that you were interested in, and you're telling him about your interest. You told him about your dad with the Classics Illustrated and the Disney stuff, and so I'm right around in there.
Okay.
Starting to talk about superheroes, I think.
Okay, so I haven't showed any artwork or anything. So
no.
Okay. It was a very nice chat. It seemed like a meet and greet, really. It was very simple. Yeah, I forgot all. That was on Memorial Day when he taped that. And right afterwards, it's like I didn't have a copy of it, so I forgot everything. So when I'm done here, I'm going to go watch that, I guess.
Oh, so you haven't seen it all yet? You haven't seen the edit or seen what it looks like or anything?
No, and I don't know if we left any room to edit because we just was
maybe
one.
You didn't. I haven't noticed any editing yet, so I don't know how
it was
long.
One long sentence, you know.
Oh wow, okay. So he did it. Okay, that's cool. It looks like I think it's like a 53-hour video or 53-hour. It's like a 53 hours. It's just you for. No, it's 53-minute video. I think.
Me sleeping.
Yeah, and you guys just talk, over and over, and then you get up, brush your teeth. Yeah. No, it's good so far. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, I was too busy this morning. I didn't get to see Dr. Silver Age. I assume he had a show.
I haven't watched it yet either. It's on. I haven't watched him. He's up next after I'm done watching your interview.
But, I'm going to be turned. Come Monday, I'm going to be turned off from all internet. So
for how long?
For a few days. I'm going to show a rerun on Wednesday. I've already got it set up to run. back when we did dragons and dinosaurs and sea monsters. It's a good episode. Very few people saw it.
Are you guys going camping?
Yeah. I'm trying to get back with nature and get away from these screens that are slowly killing us, and and getting away from precious Dr. Pepper.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm just reading the chat. I just saw John Goris said, "Ever collect some kind of thing? Just drop it, get rid of collection, and move on." I did that with rocks.
with what did you say?
With rocks, he said. He said, "Ever collect some kind of thing?
Right.
Then just drop it, get rid of collection, and move on." I did that with rocks.
Okay. I thought that was you answering his question, that you did it with rocks. So
No, he said he did that with rocks.
right. Yes. Pet rocks or something.
Or like
Well,
if you're collecting different kinds of rocks.
yeah, there's the minerals and the green rocks, red rocks. Yeah, I can see that.
Minerals, rocks and minerals. That's
There's
like
fool's gold and
crystals,
yeah.
quartz, geodes. Those are cool.
I don't think it impresses the ladies though. Would you
Just
like to
show 'em
see?
the geode collection.
Here's my
Check out my iron pyrite.
yeah. She starts sizing you up like, I'm going to settle down with this guy.
Look at all this iron pyrite. Look at it
Yeah.
all. I'm a rich man. It's all shiny.
Yeah, she's going to be deleting all the other guys' numbers. Yeah, right. Yeah, when I look at all the the rawhide kid laying around, I'm thinking, how did I ever get married? What she must just put up with all this, toy trains. But must be my animal magnetism or something. Overrules all the junk I have. I made another comment. What do you say here? Petrified wood. Oh wow.
Oh yeah. By wood, cool. By wood.
Ladies and gentlemen, Meyer made that noise.
That's me, actually.
I know.
But I need to run back and bring her something. But we got 10 people watching. What's going on? So yeah, I heard you talk about John Goris in the car.
Rock collection. Yeah.
And Meyer says, wait, Meyer, that was a nice little encounter you had feeding the crows on the beach. Cool. All right. Let's see.
Thanks,
I'm
John.
gonna I've got to take her something, so I'm going to be gone the same amount of time again. If anyone else wants to come on, there's a link. There's the link. I was trying to click on my, I'm doing the wrong thing.
How long are you going to be
I'm going
gone?
to see if I'm able to go in the car and how long it'll let me go on. Probably not much.
Yeah, Meyer, look at Grotty right now. See, if he would darken that, he could do that Barney Miller mustache really good.
How so? How do you mean?
Does it look like you have a black mustache for a second? Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, like Barney Miller.
What's weird is the way I have gray hair on this side and it's dark here. It's like a Lily Munster Dr. Strange thing. I'm sure some people may think I do that on purpose. It's just the way it grows. It's so weird. Oh boy. Yeah, I've got to take her two things she forgot. I'm trying to. Oh boy. So, yeah, you were showing some Donald Duck books that look pretty valuable. Even made his eyebrows go up.
I don't know if he was being nice or I just
No, there were a few there that are recognizably. I think. Well, I don't know if he's that way with Disney, but I think he's very much a key issue person. But he
yeah.
that's the first appearance of somebody. It's like,
Yeah.
But when I guess you get on the Key Collector app or wherever you research and you memorize what all the first appearances were in the history of comics, and those are the ones you go after.
Yep.
Okay. All right. All right. I'll be right back. Let's see how long I stay.
All right.
And those same Nazis, the New World Order, NWO. To me, it means Nazi World Order. Because
So did we get a time estimate?
Huh?
Do we
It'll
have a
take me
time
about
estimate?
The same amount of time it took me the first time. I just got to go find a couple of her things up here in the attic and then take them back to her.
That's fun.
She has some anxiety issues, and when she has these rings that she puts them on, it kind of, the pressure on her fingers somehow through some acupuncture kind of, who knows what it does, but it's just something she's discovered that it helps her with that. But when she doesn't have those rings on, it just, so I gotta find them here in this box here. Oh my gosh. Guess we'll take them off when she goes to sleep. Oh. There's one of them. There's little rubber rings. Oh.
Hello, Paulo.
I'll check by the computer when I go back down and see if anyone's there waiting to come on if they want to. If you want to come on, click on that link in the next 20 seconds, and then I'll put you on before I leave.
Hello, Paul. Oh, that was Todd. Thank you, Todd. About the crows. I said John erroneously earlier. I'm reading the chat. Todd said, Meyer, that was a nice little kind of feeling close. Thanks.
All right. Oh, let's see if anyone's there. 4 people. There's no one waiting to go on. No one waiting to go on. Oh, it's starting to rain. I have the window did.
Well, Meyer, how should we entertain ourselves?
I don't know. I feel like I had something to say earlier, but then I just completely forgot all about it. And, I don't know.
Was it about the crows or?
No, it had nothing to do with the crows. Probably had something to do with what we were talking before about War of the Worlds or something.
Okay.
But I don't remember now what we were talking about. But no, I don't know what we just.
So twice now.
Oh, camping.
You've been.
Camping. Yeah, you guys.
Yeah.
The pop. You have a trailer camper or a pop up or something that you're taking.
Yeah, I have that that little camper that I gutted and repainted and took out all the plumbing because we don't use the facilities that it came with because I don't in the wintertime I don't want to mess with having to worry about that. So it's just for sleeping, and we have a fridge, and but yeah, we love it. And I built a king size bed, and so I'm a heavy guy, so I used landscaping tiers as bases, and put like 11 of them in.
Are you still there? Micah, did we lose you? I think we lost Micah. He was telling us about the king-size
Uh-oh.
bed. Can't.
Well, I'll fix it when I get back in about 3 minutes. Unless he just magically comes back.
Well, it sounds great, but now it's just me. But Pratu's here, and we're
Oh, shit.
mobile.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Am I?
Yeah. Yeah, you sound fine.
I can't fix Micah's status until I get back to the main computer.
Oh, we lost him. Maybe he'll come back.
All right, I'll get him when I get back there.
Can you hear me okay?
I hear you fine, yeah.
Okay, what I was going to say, I remember what I was going to say. So we were talking a little bit earlier about the Geeky Puppet Show, and you mentioned that you did some readings. Now, I caught one of those. One time you read one of the original Ziff Davis G.I. Joe comics. That was outstanding.
Oh, that was by myself.
Yeah, it was really good. I really
all the voices on that.
I love that title. But that was really good, man. You should do more of those.
Yeah, that's what I'd like to do, more actual. I don't want to do a joking thing where I'm doing silly voices. That's just my personal preference. I want to do it like I'm really trying to legitimately do a read along book and put in more effort than the Power Records people did, because they put in. You could tell they were reading that script for the first time when they turned on those tape recorders on the Power Records, because they would. Okay, hold on. I will be right back. Okay. That G.I. Joe comic was insane. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, I love those
Is
G.I.
that,
Joe comics. I only have a couple of them.
ever-
They're really good.
Was that comic ever done by Guandanaland into a book?
Yeah, I think he did, but I don't have it. I think he did it, but I don't have it.
I mean, it's really funny, but kind of irresponsible, I have to admit, to make war seem like a high school football game. And this guy's having the time of his life. Just big smile while he's killing dozens of people. It's a little, it's great fun, but on the other hand, I question, 8-year-olds reading a comic like that. Not to be a prude or anything, but I don't know. All right. That was one of the first Golden Age comics I ever saw when I was in maybe it was probably 4th grade. I went over to a friend's house, and right by his bed, in the little end table by his bed, he had some old comics, and some were from his mother, who was, I would say, probably the same age as the girl that collected those comics that Kevin bought last Saturday, because there was a G.I. Joe comic in there. And I remember seeing that G.I. Joe and thinking, is this related to the G.I. Joe, 12-inch figure that was, that you could buy back then? And realizing that it probably wasn't, but I just remember seeing the painted cover, and that was a comic that belonged to his mother, and the others were, but it was in pretty bad shape. And the others were, one was not his mother's, but someone else in the family's. That he had inherited. It was a Steve Ditko Spider-Man. The one with the little circular picture of Aunt May in a hospital bed. I've since gotten this issue. Okay, I'm pulling up in front of the house, so Drew is barking inside the house.
He's barking at you.
It's pretty surreal. Yeah. Well, maybe also these girls that are at the cross the street. That's possible. Hi, how are you?
We're in the fridge.
Okay.
Pringle.
Drew's bark just turned into a Max Headroom kind of stutter.
Yeah, sort of. She did. Yeah.
Yeah, those turn out they knew who I was. Just
running
everywhere I go, people know who I am. I'm not used to a small town. Let's see. Okay, if Graphic Man, Micah, if you need to get back in, put the link here again. Anyone else, John Goris, whatever. Put the link here. What is going on here?
Todd, I haven't received the turtles yet. They're supposed to arrive.
Used to collect baseball cards too, says John Goris. If I'd held on to them, I know some of them would be worth a bit. I was perusing Etsy, and some relative no-name players from 1985 Topps card was like $30, huh? I bought a couple of baseball card packs in the early 70s, maybe just because I think all the wacky packs were sold out, and I thought maybe this, and I still have some of them. I think one was back then. I think Hank Aaron was the big guy. Meyer, did you get the correct turtle mailed today?
It's supposed to arrive, but it has not arrived as of yet. So not yet. I have.
That sounds almost like some secret agent communication. Did you get the correct turtle mailed? There's probably some guys enjoy combat, not just with you.
It's code.
Yeah. Yeah, but if someone, John, really enjoys combat with that big s-eating grin that he has, you would have to be a psychopath because it's hilarious. Oh, but it's a fun comic. It's just like I don't know. I could just question this Democrat obsession with war. I guess it's for making lots of money from them. Oh, okay. Well, now where am I? I don't know where my sunglasses are. I guess it's all right. So, I bet it's a busy day for Kevin at Gotham City Comics. I don't know why. I guess that maybe because people just got paid. It's the end of the month and it's a holiday weekend. I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe.
I don't know anything about retail.
There's nothing going on. Like I don't hear a lot of traffic outside. It was dead at the beach today.
Yeah, I mean, your beach isn't a beach that has like a traditional beach with sand, is it?
Yeah, it is. It's all sand.
Is it like a darker colored sand?
Yeah, it's because it gets wet. So it gets wet every morning, so it's dark. It's only like looks like regular sand where it's all dry, where the water doesn't get it wet.
Oh, so I'm used to the movies with the sand, like the beach party movies. That's more like Los Angeles, or is that a different part of the coast? Or?
Yeah, it's different. It's different. The sand is different all up and down. Like in Carmel, it's powdery white. So it just depends it depends on the coral that is crushed up on the underneath the reef, like over the centuries or something. It has something to do with
okay.
what's underneath in the water.
And so just, I mean, do people sit on the beach, your beach with umbrellas over them and everything? Is okay.
Yep, just like that.
Well, there was something. So, yeah, apparently DeSantis is in trouble for a commercial he put on. He apparently went much farther with his rhetoric than other Republicans think he should have gone.
I didn't see the commercial. He was just here this past week and put together like a really good video I saw on the Daily Wire of him in San Francisco. You see that? Of DeSantis?
No, I didn't know about that. And France is apparently in flames.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw France is in flames. I'm surprised there's not rioting. So something's always in the mix. I'm surprised that they're not rioting because of the affirmative action, because of the Supreme Court.
Yeah, that and the student debt stuff.
Yeah, I would have expected something was so. To me, that means there's something else going on down the bend that's more important. It's better that they wait. They're planning.
Yeah.
But you can't trust me. I'm a paranoid, schizophrenic, whacked out veteran. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Well, they got things planned. Everything's planned out.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, Biden talks about how the biggest threat are these Klan type people. And then they have these people come out all with identical masks, all with khaki pants on that look like complete like government people. And And then the Antifa doesn't show up to challenge them, which makes it seem like, oh, so they're staging, because there really isn't that many racist groups out there, so they're staging it. And then
They're the racist group.
and then this group that probably can't be mentioned on YouTube, that starts with PB, they went out there and started yanking the masks off of the people that were out there with their racist
Yes, I
flags,
enjoyed that video.
and then they were all covering their faces, and
Yeah.
then some of them have been identified, and they've tracked who these people were, and they're like Antifa. So
Interesting, huh?
So,
Yeah.
let's see what John Goris is saying. You all following the Dial of Destiny, Michigas? If the movie was as interesting as all the drama around it, I'd go and see it. What is the drama around it?
Well, what you were just talking about earlier about Harrison Ford being cut out and about it being
Well,
whatever. I haven't seen
I
it.
mean,
I'm
I've
not-
already seen them do that to Luke Skywalker and to Han Solo.
I think it's good. It's finally time that women are getting what they deserve. So I'm all for it.
Yeah.
I think a woman is a better man in every case, and because clearly men are better women. Just look at that professional swimmer. What's his name? Leah Thomas. He's the better than Mark Spitz, and then Bruce Willis. Is it Bruce Willis? I don't know.
I don't know. I remember Mark Spitz, but I don't know many swimmers' names.
I'm cool with it all. I want them all. Everybody's a birthing person. I don't even want to be able to tell. I just want it's all everybody rainbow everything.
There used to be these big celebrities that would come out of the Olympics, and I don't think there is anymore. I mean, because I remember there was Mark Spitz, and there was Bruce Jenner, and there was Dorothy Hamill, and they were huge celebrities.
Jeez, remember Nadia's theme?
Nadia Comaneci, right? But that's all the 70s. But since then, it's just like they don't make celebrities out of the Olympic people anymore. And before that, they would go into movies. Johnny Weissmuller, Buster Crabbe were Olympic swimmers, and they'd get a movie career, or they'd at least have a ton of commercial sponsorship. And Bruce Jenner, that was pretty weird, because he's probably get in trouble even saying his name that way, but there was really no sign in the 70s. There was just no sign that would ever happen. It's just like, I don't know.
It's been a long
But we were watching this movie last night about Ziegfeld.
Yeah.
And it was made in 1936, and I guess he died of probably the early days of the Depression, maybe 31, 32. He'd been dead a few years. But Myrna Loy plays his last wife, Billy Burke, and he's played by William Powell. So it's basically the couple from the Thin Man movies, which I guess started after the Ziegfeld movie. I guess they thought they had chemistry, and then they did that series of movies. I assume that's the way it happened. But anyway, I realized, that name Billy Burke, and I realized, that's the Good Witch in Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, it is.
And so Myrna Loy was basically playing that actress that 3 years later, the original actress would play
Glenda.
And then Ray Bolger was in it. And I think the guy that played the actual Wizard of Oz at the end of the Wizard of Oz was in the movie too, as this guy that financed his show. But when Ray Bolger came on, the guy that would play the Scarecrow in the Wizard of Oz, so he must have been discovered by Ziegfeld and was like a comedian dancer in the Ziegfeld Follies. That guy, his dancing, it's like, this is light years better than Michael Jackson. This is incredible. I've never seen anyone able to do, the little comedic dancing, and he would go down to a complete splits and then get back up from the splits, pretending like he kept going back down. I don't know how he did that. It's astounding.
Remember Donald O'Connor when you'd run up the wall?
Oh yeah, and Singing in the Rain. Yeah, he's another example. And Gene Kelly. These people were phenomenal talents. Paulo says Harrison Ford is like 80, has no business in an action movie. There's no point in doing more Indiana Jones at this stage. Yeah, except they've got this intellectual property of Indiana Jones, and they want to set it up for more movies, but they want it to be a girl Indiana Jones.
Yes.
But
They're just squeezing because they can't come up with any new ideas because they're all stupid. They're all stupid. That's why.
But they want to humiliate Indiana Jones, just like they want to pull down statues of any heroes from the past.
Absolutely.
They don't understand that movie. They never did understand it. They don't know what made it work. And I swear, I was saying this the other day, I saw Raiders of the Lost Ark about a month and a half or 2 months before it came out at a preview showing. One of those preview showings where they gauge audience reaction and decide whether they need to retool or edit the movie or fix little things here and there. And I loved it. I knew exactly what they were doing. It was like a movie serial. I picked up on all that, but this was before I could drive. And as we were going home, my mother went with me. I said, I hate it. This movie's going to bomb. I love the movie, but I don't think people are going to understand this movie. I don't think the average person's going to get it. But they did. But the people that didn't get it are now the people in charge. And they don't understand movie serials. The people that made the last 3 Star Wars movies, they were nothing like movie serials. And they were just propaganda. And what you do is you take, the original 3 movies had a beginning, middle, and end. The end was, I thought, a little unsatisfactory in that they just did another Death Star. I thought, man, at the time when I saw that on opening day in 1983, I thought, well, they should have done something different. This is just a bigger, better Death Star. And it's kind of unbuilt a little bit. And that's the difference. And it's the same ending as the first movie. And I was disappointed by that because even though it was spectacular, because like the second movie had given you completely different thing, like the Imperial Walkers, that was something. You got completely new stuff in the second movie. And the third movie just gives you the old stuff, but better. It's like, because it was like George Lucas said, well, this is the way I wanted to film it in the first movie, but I didn't have the money. So, well, just go do something else. But anyway, it's not that I didn't like Return of the Jedi, but anyway, the movie had an ending, and Han Solo had started as this cad rogue smuggler that was smuggling stuff that was probably equivalent to drugs in our world, and had redeemed himself, and he winds up marrying this princess. It's like a fairy tale, and they've defeated the Empire. So Disney makes their movie. Well, you defeated the Empire, but now they're back, and it looks like just as big as ever. It's just these little kids that were, I guess they're trying to say they're like these Nazis that admire the World War II Nazis, and then they rebuilt. They never explained how did they rebuild the Empire, and how did it be? And then all of a sudden, Princess Leia, the good guys won. Now they've shrunken down to nothing, and it's just like what? I never fully understood that. And they were the resistance. Why are they the resistance? If they were the ones in power, wouldn't the whatever the empire type, wouldn't they be the resistance? And then I noticed, okay, they're called the people against Trump are calling themselves the resistance. And then in the Disney movie, they're calling the good guys, the resistance. So I see that there. And then, of course, Han Solo had that character arc. And now in this new Disney version, well, he's back being a smuggler again. It's like he's exactly back to 1977. There was no character progress. He's divorced. His son hates him, wants to kill him, and finally kills him. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen that movie. And it's like, it's okay, why did you kill him off? And the worst thing is they get the 3 original stars back and they never put them in one scene together. You don't have the 3 of them together ever. And then you kill him off and they say, well, Harrison Ford wanted to be killed off. He didn't want to do another Star Wars movie. Yeah, but you could have at least given them, you could just tell they were more concerned with their new characters that no one cared about. And so they kill him off, and then they make Luke Skywalker, or they put him only in the last 20 seconds of the movie. In the next movie, he's just like this disgusting homeless bum that's it was just I don't know if you saw it or not, but
I didn't see it.
and then they just became more a second movie of that new trilogy was bad, and then the third one I didn't even watch all of it. I watched a little of it.
I haven't watched any of them. I've watched maybe the beginning of all of them, but not more than 10 or 12 minutes, and I get pissed and I turn it off. I can't force myself to watch something that I don't like. And
let's see what people are saying here. Indiana Jones was an icon of hyper masculinity, almost to the point of parody. The boys wanted to be him, the girls wanted to be with him. The whole scenario character only makes sense as male. Yeah, except the way he was portrayed, he was always kind of getting the S beaten out of him. I think that would be more of a case for James Bond. But Harrison Ford was beaten up, bruised, and like completely effed up in that movie. He was practically run over, but he kept persevering. And but yeah, that's true. Guys wanted to be him, but they and I think, they did everything in this new movie. I can see it just in the trailers to humiliate him. His son's dead in Vietnam. His wife's divorcing him, Karen Allen. His students disrespect him in the college, don't listen to him. He's
oh my God,
he's just some old man banging on the door. You guys are playing the music too loud. He's
oh, that sounds excellent.
and then what else? Oh, there's a scene where he's like goes into like somewhere where people are buying and trading all these antiquities, a bunch of bad guys, and he's got his whip and he's on top of the table, and then they all pull guns on him, and he goes, oh, and it's just that like they're turning that thing around where the guy with the swords in the original Raiders, and he pulls out the gun and shoots him. That was just such a classic scene, and that was Harrison Ford that made that up. He said, why don't I just do this? And they said, oh, that's a great idea. But so they just have to turn everything around. And then there's this smarty pants girl who's in her 30s with a British accent that shows up that, of course,
That's refreshing.
completely unlikable. But let's see. I'm a contrarian. I resist all resistance. Paulo says, thanks to Palpatine, the Empire superseded the Senate. It was a change in regime from parliamentary to absolutist. Yeah, but then the Senate was returned, right? At the end of Return of the Jedi, they defeated the Empire. That was the way. But how did it get to the point where everything just went back pretty much to the way it was? Except worse. The Rebel Alliance is headed by the former senators. Okay. That's why it's easy for them to restart the empire. But it's typical for these attempts to result in infighting. Well, I don't know. This might be in books. I'm just what you see in the movies. I always hate when movies can't exist on their own, when you have to read all these books in between to understand what's going on, or in these Marvel movies where now you have to see the TV series in between to understand what's going on. I had the impression they were all beaten, and then it's like this group of young people that admired the way the empire used to be came and like got their equipment and kind of rose up and built a new. Isn't that what the Disney movies were saying? Because it was it didn't make any sense, to be honest. It's not even worth, because they're written by people that don't understand anything. It's like this friend of mine once said, because there's this lady that we knew. She was so into what was that called? The third Big Bang from the Sun, that stupid series with the guy that goes, "Oh, really?" What was it, Big Bang Theory? She loved it, and she was like, "Oh, I love that show so much." And this friend of mine said that show is like written by the football players in high school that didn't understand us at all, and that they think that's what we're like. And anyone that can relate to that show or thinks it's funny, I'm just thinking, what's wrong with you? Because it's not
Yeah, I
funny.
don't like it either. I found it insulting because it was filled with stereotypes.
Yeah.
Infinite stereotypes.
Um,
Stereotypes about people who like the things that we like, and they were really lame stereotypes.
There was another movie, the total opposite. It was made by nerds, but instead of stereotyping them as nerds, it made all the nerds seem like really attractive and successful with women. And
Yeah, what was that?
it was called Free Enterprise.
Oh, I haven't never heard.
It's about people that are really into Star Trek, and
Okay.
and they talk about Mego figures. It seems like, but there would be mistakes, like he'd be referring to Almighty Isis instead of. It wasn't Almighty Isis. She says Almighty Isis. She didn't say Almighty Isis.
No, she's saying Almighty Isis.
But it's like it was. But anyway, it's a bunch of Star Trek nerds, but they're portrayed like they're the cast of Friends, like they're actually normal people, and it was so bad it must have been Canadian. But anyway, in the movie, they run across William Shatner, who plays himself in a bookstore or something, and I don't know, it was so weird. It was like a dream of someone that's a Star Trek nerd, that's really how they are. And as I recall, they have a green woman come out of a cake for the guy's 30th birthday or something. Free Enterprise. Let me look this movie up. I saw it on cable years ago.
It's just I liked the portrayal of was it Christian Slater in True Romance? Remember True Romance?
Okay.
Yeah, he was a guy that worked at the comic shop. Remember how the movie starts?
Yeah. Well, when you think about movies that have shown people into comics, Christian Slater, that was a pretty good depiction.
Yeah, it was. He was one of us. He was in Sonny Chiba. They went to go see a Street Fighter film festival. That's what she took him.
Right. Yeah. But that was the writer, inserting himself into it. Except in reality, he doesn't look like Christian Slater. He's that. Why can't I think of his name right now? He's Quentin Tarantino, who's like the geekiest guy in the world. That in reality, that's Quentin Tarantino imagining he's writing himself in as Christian Slater.
Yes, it is.
And Quentin Tarantino is like someone you'd meet in a comic store, and it's like, oh, he's into everything you're into, but he's so insufferable. And there are people that look, I guess, like the people in Big Bang Theory, but they're far different than that. And so, let me see. there was a remake of a French movie with wow, what was that, man? What was that called? With the gerbil guy, man. What's his
Richard
name?
Gere.
Richard Gere. It was a movie that came out in the early '80s, based on a French movie, like a
Um,
who's- man, my mind is gone.
American
Anyway,
Hero?
in the original movie, he was obsessed with some movie character, but
The
in the
American
remake, he was
Hero?
obsessed with a Silver Surfer. John Goris, of course, knows. It was Breathless. In the
Oh, thank
original,
you, John. That's it. It
he was
is.
obsessed with. Anyway, you would see pictures of the Silver Surfer, and he briefly talk about the Silver Surfer. So that's another depiction of people into comics and movies. Most people into comics don't look like Richard Gere or Christian Slater. Sometimes, usually, sometimes you'll see at a comic convention some guy that's rich and relatively good looking with some beautiful girl that's on their arm. But
Right.
um,
Have you seen Mike and Laura Allred before? Have you seen them?
I don't know what they look like.
You should Google image them. They look like movie stars. So they're Mormon for one thing. And have you ever read his Golden Plates book that he did? Where he
No.
did so Mike Allred did an adaptation of the Book of Mormon, or portions of it.
Really?
I bought it, but I gave it to my son because he was so into it. But so Mike and Laura Allred, when you would see them at the convention, they look like they're people that are supposed to be like commercial people. They look like they're supposed to be like working for somebody as like what do they call them? Representatives. They look like sales reps. They're so good looking. She's beautiful and he's handsome. Look them up.
Okay.
Yep.
I remember Wendy Peeney was always playing Red Sonja in conventions in
Yeah,
the
she was
70s. I don't know what her husband looks like, but I imagine he's.
probably not the same. Richard Peeney.
Then you've got Ghost World that shows a collector. I think
Mhm.
that was a pretty accurate depiction of an R. Crumb kind of collector. There was a movie about two comic book stores trying to fight over a new comic book collection discovery, kind of like the Mile High collection.
Yeah, I
They've heard
remember that.
about some house.
It took place in Colorado too. It was in Colorado as well. At the movie.
You've seen this movie?
Yeah, I remember it. I saw it.
I don't remember it being a good movie, but I remember it existing.
Yeah, I think they go to the house and there's a woman whose son passed away and the collection is in his room, I believe.
Yeah, something like that.
And it's kind of they're making fun of the Mile High collection.
Yeah, I was definitely inspired by that. Oh, they were famous in conventions before they. Oh, okay. Yeah, that might be. Yeah. Because I didn't start seeing that ElfQuest stuff until the late 70s. And I remember seeing those pictures. She was always with. Man, I'm completely out of it today. The artist that basically created Red Sonja, what's his face? He would always dress as a wizard with his big beard, and then Wendy Peeney would be Red Sonja. Because
I remember seeing pictures of Wendy Peeney dressed up like ElfQuest characters. She would dress up like that female, the main character from ElfQuest.
Yeah, I've got some ElfQuest comics, but I've never really read the series.
I read it all back when I was a kid in the 70s when it was popular at my comic shop, like late 70s is when I first saw it, maybe 78, 79.
They look like they have a motivational speaker franchise, really.
You know what I mean, Paul? Yeah, they're very good looking people. So you're surprised when you see a picture of them. You're like, holy crap, they're like really good looking people. It's kind of unusual.
Crossover between the martial arts crowd and comic geekdom. Yeah, the people I knew that were into martial arts and comics, yeah, that's an interesting crossover, because sometimes you'll get these guys that are really built that are into comics, and they're really into Conan and Savage Sword of Conan and the Deadly Hands of Kung Fu kind of stuff, and Thor. They'll be into the superhero comics, and they'll be intelligent, but they'll also be bodybuilders. I knew a guy named Marty in high school, a couple of guys, and he was into Tao Chi, and he was a bouncer in a strip club, I think. And we worked together at a movie theater in the summer of '84. And I remember he was always very soft spoken because he was trying to live out whatever, his stupid, I don't want to insult it, but that Tao Chi, I don't know much about that particular martial art, but the people that got into that maybe it was a particular school in that town, and maybe it was a particular instructor, but it seemed like everyone I knew that started learning that Tao Chi started to wind up having horrible things happen around them. They just like bad stuff. Like maybe there was something spiritually bad about that. And then, there's also, I just thought we're too autistic to be effective fighters. Oh, well, yeah. There is a crowd in Texas, and I don't know if it's a nationwide thing, called the SCA, and it was called Society for Creative Anachronism. And so what you've got, I don't know if you've got them over there in Portugal, but here they have these Renaissance fairs. Or sometimes they'll call them Ren fairs. And it's where, a certain time of year, they'll set up all these tents out they have a bunch of acreage out somewhere, and they'll have a Renaissance fair, and everyone will be dressed like it's 1500, and women will, be dressed like Guinevere or like, guys will be in armor or whatever, they'll go out and do jousting on horseback and everything. There won't be technology. They'll just, and they'll have, you'll eat like big legs of meat like they would have. I don't know if that's something that's done all over the world, but there was a Renaissance fair near Dallas. I don't know about other parts of the country, but anyway, there's this group called SCA, Society for Creative Anachronism, and they would train how to fight with those medieval weapons, with swords, with axes, with, whatever, those big spears they would joust with. And some of those guys would be, they'd be able to twirl the swords around, and they would be nerds, but they'd be pretty muscular. Let's see what Paul was saying here. We don't do Renaissance fairs. We do medieval fairs. It's the same thing. And usually mix them with actual traditional cultural events that existed for hundreds of years. Yeah, that's what they do. That's what they do. But they also have mock little combat, It's just, medieval fair, Renaissance fair, same thing. Scarborough Fair, that's what it's called, the one by Dallas, and it's like, so I guess that's a common, of course, the Simon and Garfunkel song was supposed to be about, maybe they name it after that song. What do I know? But
I don't know. It's pretty cringe. I've been to a
yeah,
couple
I never
of them.
went to one except at Halloween. They have a lot of those structures at the Renaissance Fair are actual physical structures, like they have a castle. So at Halloween one time, a friend of mine brought me out there. I think it's near Waxahachie. They redo it as a haunted park, and so that castle becomes a haunted castle, and there's ghosts and there's zombies walking around everywhere and monsters. So when they changed the Renaissance Fair to a monster fair, I went that one time. My friend took me. We went to the Munster Mansion, and hold on, let's see what he said. I was on a Greyhound bus once, and one of my fellow passengers had a chainmail coat on. Must have been one of them. Yeah, probably.
Could have been.
What did you think of the comic book store and the Lost Boys movie? I heard someone talking about that the other day, saying there was a comic book in the Lost Boys, and they were talking about what it was what was on the. I don't remember because I saw that movie when it came out, and I've never watched it since.
Yeah, something like
No, they're not. What? No, they're
it's
not.
something like blood is the harvest, but it's not. But it's something like a vampire switch, like the lettering of blood looks like the same as it did on that cover. You know what I'm talking about?
Okay. Someone was just talking about that the other day on some
But
YouTube
that's
show.
a real.
No, they're
That
not.
used to be a real store called Atlantis Fantasyland in Santa Cruz, where they filmed that at the end of the boardwalk in Santa Cruz. The store where they used.
So
You know,
Paula's saying the Renaissance fairs have better clothing. Okay. Well, I don't know. Also, the video, I don't know how accurate these things are. How
I don't think they
the
are.
ones.
Usually, it's just a mixture of people like doing all different things. In my experience, I haven't been to one that's super accurate.
Yeah, I mean the people that the women that hang out at those things are usually the same ones that watch Dark Shadows. I mean, it's possible you could find an attractive one, but
Maybe a lot
they're
of
gonna
fans
have
of the
they're gonna
vampires.
have personality issues. You know, I don't know. They're probably the same people that dress up as Klingons. I don't mean to insult them. There was one time I went to one of the locations of Lone Star Comics, which is now mycomicshop.com, back probably 30 years ago. It was probably about the time that Kingdom Come came out, so that's 30 years ago. Anyway, you used to going up, you take your comics up to the clerk, and they usually it's you know, a typical comic book person. But this guy was this big Conan the Barbarian guy with close cut hair. And as he took the comics from me, on his forearms were all these scars. It's just like Conan the Barbarian would have been in real life. They should have done that to Schwarzenegger, and because he'd been fighting with real swords with these other idiots, and he had all these scars. Man, it was something, man. I guess if he was a skinny guy, you'd figure, oh, he's just cutting himself because he's goth. But no, this guy, you could tell this is from combat. Well, why is this in 1990s? Why does this guy have combat scars of swords? But anyway, the goth scene is kind of interesting, a bit cringe, but sociologically interesting. Yeah, can be. I think it's a really good look for women because even if a woman is unattractive, if you put on that Morticia white makeup and the black around your eyes, you can really make
Give them the
yourself
Betty
look
Page,
striking
give
like
them
a
the
silent
bangs.
movie actress.
Yeah, if you just give them the Betty Page bangs and then maybe something with the nails, then she kind of looks good.
But it's a bad look for guys. If a guy that goes with the goth look, unless you like make yourself look like Bela Lugosi or Christopher Lee, usually it's not, I don't know, maybe it's attractive to women, but to me, I wouldn't want to look, to me, it's a good look for women. And I've always liked a good proportion of that music, Susie and the Banshees and stuff. But I've never went full in, plunged into any subculture. I've always been into multiple ones, and
You guys have that. I'm sure you did. That rockabilly, the rockabilly subculture, the old school rockabilly subculture, where it's still young people, but they still have their hair greased. They dress like it's 1952. The girl does the whole thing, and they drive an
yeah,
old car, and maybe he works in a barber shop that does nothing but cut hair for people
yeah,
just
yeah.
like you. So that
I
still exists here, and
That's
sometimes it's
what.
Asian people. It exists here, and it will be Chinese dudes and Chinese girls that still act like it's 1952. It's pretty cool. It's kind of
That's
cool.
interesting. Um, yeah,
And
that group.
Latinos. It's
I mean,
I would say here in California, it's mostly Asian and Latinos that do it, that are part of this subculture, the rockabilly subculture.
well, the Latinos have kind of a certain degree kept that culture going ever since that was a real thing. The lowrider culture.
It's part of the
You know,
lowrider.
still have the cars of that period, and in a lot of cases still listen to the doo-wop music.
Yes, and they make new music that's like the old music. Here, there's bands and clubs that just play that.
But I was always in the 70s and early 80s. Well, always. I've been into 50s music. I got into it because my brother bought the soundtrack to American Graffiti, but didn't have a phonograph, and he said, "Here, play this and see if there's any skips or scratches." And because sometimes in the 70s, records weren't made as well as they had been, and you'd get a brand new record and you'd have to return it and get another copy because it already was messed up when you took it out of the shrink wrap. And it was almost like they started to make records badly, so everyone would say, "Yeah, let's go with CDs because I'm sick of these phonograph records sounding." And they didn't have to sound bad; it just they started making them real shoddily, which set us up for that changeover. Anyway, so I'd play it, and I was blown away by the music, and then so I was always kind of into that, and then all of a sudden, when MTV first came along, there was the Stray Cats and all this, and people started getting into rockabilly, but I had already known about it, so it was like how did this nerd already know? How was he ahead of us? So there was that Stray Cats, but that to me it was a strange look when they first came in because of the tattoos, which now people just immediately associate with a rockabilly culture. But the guys in the bands in the 50s didn't have tattoos. A couple of them might have from the war, or well, they were younger, maybe the Korean War. They might have had a little tattoo, like a little tattoo that you never even knew about. But that was something that I think came from because the rockabilly was taken up in England, and that's when the tattoos came from. It was kind of getting mixed with this British stuff because Gene Vincent wasn't selling records in the U.S. anymore, but in England he was still a big draw, so he was still playing in England to sold out crowds into the 70s. And
what were the two factions in Quadrophenia? Wasn't it rockabilly versus mod?
It was the mods and the rockers, but I don't think it was necessarily rockabilly,
they were
but
just
rock and roll.
They were,
rockabilly. I mean, because it seems like they were more into Little Richard and Chuck Berry. I don't really know, honestly. But the mods were more into the new stuff, the Who and everything. And yeah.
I used to be in the Army with this guy that bought everything. So this was, and I was friends with this guy during the inception of CDs. So when the PX started making the change from selling LPs, from selling record albums to CDs, was right when I was buddies with this guy. And this was a guy who had a crazy wide musical taste, where what he did is he subscribed to Rolling Stone and he bought every record that was in like the top 20 or something. And he bought everything every single month. He knew what was coming out. He was like one of us, but with records. And it could be any kind of music. And he bought everything every month, whatever came out, whatever was released. But yeah, anyway, that was it.
All genres of music?
Yes, all genres of music, from
that's weird.
Country to rock to classical, even whatever was new released at the PX that week, he was buying it.
On CD?
Well, before CD, he was buying it on record album. But in 1988, 1989, the PX started switching and stopped selling records and started just selling CDs. So it was all happening at that time. So he had a giant collection of records, but then now he was starting this new collection of nothing but CDs.
Yeah, well, I remember there being magazines in the early days of CDs, that would tell you what the new releases were going to be and review them. And I remember magazines in the days of VHS telling you what movies were coming out on VHS.
Right.
I still have some of those magazines. Um,
What was the chat I missed? Was there some new chats? I didn't see those.
Oh, Paula was talking about, he said, funny thing about classic American car culture and auto racing, IndyCar was a Midwest, Northeast thing. NASCAR was Southern, but in both cases, the best engineers came from the California hot rod scene. NASCAR was born out of bootlegging culture, right? Making very fast cars to outrun police. But I'm in the 90s, I briefly started dating a girl that was into that rockabilly culture. And that was a weird thing. That was weird.
So the people that I was around that were into it, very reminiscent of what you were saying earlier about the SCA. So they were people that lived an entire life of anachronism. Like they tried to live their life in an anachronistic fashion and wear and do nothing like it was 40 years in the past.
Almost like the Amish, but not
Yeah.
quite. But
Yeah,
they would live like, because
Yes.
this girl was in a house that had been there since probably the 20s. So it would have been there in the 50s. It was filled with 50s furniture. The refrigerator was from the 50s. It looked cool with a curved top. There was everything. There was nothing in that house more recent than, and they were younger. Shoot, how old was I then? I guess I was about 30, and I think she was about 10 years younger than me. So she was like, then they were, and all her friends were like right around that age. And then I started to find out the darkness behind that group, and that most of them were ex-skinheads. But Dallas had scare. I mean, the real skinheads aren't racist. They're into, ska or reggae music, right? The ones, but then there was a group that was pretty dark, and especially in Dallas, and they would just beat up punk rockers on the street, and they made it dangerous to go to the section of town that had punk rock. And at some point, I think somebody was killed or something. I don't know, but they started really cracking down on them, and a lot of the skinheads just became rockabilly people, and they just, I don't know if it was just safer. They still had their big Confederate flags, but it was like a Southern thing. It was no longer a skinhead thing. This girl, I think, had been part of that, and that was anyway. It was pretty weird. She no longer felt she had given up. She had disavowed that, but she had a '55 Chevy that looked brand new. The engine was a chrome engine, and then she had her friend live in there that had a '55 Chevy, but it could barely run, and it would stall out right in the middle of the Burger King line. And it's like, oh, we're gonna have to push this out of the Burger King drive-through line. And it's like, you got these two girls, and one wants to be the other girl, so but the one girl, her father was wealthy, like a CFO or something of some company, so he probably said, I don't want you to be a skinhead anymore. Here, being this rockabilly, that's safe. Here, I'll buy you a car, whatever you want. Just get away from that stupid lifestyle. So she had that car and everything, and what else? And then there were two guys that lived there. They all were splitting this house, and one was, and he was a pretty authentic. He looked like he came right out of the '50s, but like some mechanic from the '50s. Then there was another guy that lived there that really looked like Elvis. and he would go over to Italy and do photo shoots for magazines because he looked so much like Elvis. And it was, and I first ran across, uh, because I had been dating this girl, and we broke up, and then I was at a Cramps concert, and then there's this girl that looks just like the other girl, and so I thought, well, but these guys in that rockabilly scene, it was kind of interesting. I mean, so they get mad at someone in the middle of a concert, and they had the cigarettes rolled up in their and then just like they're going into fights, they're rolling up their sleeves to go into fights, just like out of American Graffiti or some old uh, juvenile delinquent movie. I mean, they did it pretty authentically. I mean, but it was like cosplay 24 hours a day for them.
Yeah, yeah.
But anyway, I just went out with this girl for a few weeks. But she wanted to go to a Jerry Lee Lewis concert, right? And Dallas, she lived in Dallas. It was in Fort Worth. Fort Worth is 45-minute, hour drive, probably more like an hour drive, right? So I had tickets to this Jerry Lee Lewis concert. This is about 1994, I guess. So we're going to the Jerry Lee Lewis concert. She needs to get some little accessory for her hair or something before she goes to the concert. So we go to this mall in Dallas, not far from where she lived. We go in the mall, everything looks fine. And when we're in the mall, I felt this tension in the air in the mall. And I heard people saying, "It's coming, it's coming, it's coming. Did you hear it's coming?" It's like I was in a Godzilla movie. Like there was just something wasn't right. I could tell something wasn't right. And so we leave the mall, and as we open the door into the parking lot, I look up at the sky, and I don't think I could ever fully describe what I saw and be believed. Maybe it's like the end of Close Encounters, or really what it looked like I was a fly inside of a pinball machine, and I was looking up and seeing all these flashing lights, like the black bubbling cloud. That went. Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you, but you're frozen.
Am I back?
Well, you're on my screen. You're frozen. I can hear you though, but we're all like,
Oh,
we're
the internet's sucking, man.
What happened?
I'll wait for the internet to.
Wait for it to catch up.
Am I frozen? Let me see what's going on here.
Yeah, you're frozen.
Ridiculous.
You're frozen. You were frozen, and you look like you were kind of having a seizure.
Somebody doesn't want me to tell this.
Oh shit!
I probably was. Am I back?
Yes, you're back.
Let's see what's going on here.
You're freezing like every 12 seconds.
I probably was. Am I back?
Yes, you're back.
Let's see what's going on here.
You're freezing like every 12 seconds.
I probably was. Am I normal now?
Yeah, you're fine. You're okay now.
Oh, okay. It's worthless internet. Anyway, what was I saying when I left off?
You walked outside and you looked up, and it was like the end of the world. What was it?
Yeah, end of the world. Yeah, basically, lots of lightning all at the same time. Probably a dozen strikes of lightning instantly all over. And I didn't know anything about a storm coming, so we get in the car and drive back to her house. Her house was kind of at the top of a hill. Well, as we're going down this old street, it starts raining by the time we get out of the parking lot. Harder than I've ever seen rain, just about. And almost instantly, the streets had this much water. And as we're going down this one street, I felt my car like go to the side, and I wasn't turning the steering wheel. And I realized none of my wheels are touching the ground. I'm floating. And then I got traction again, and we kept going. When we got to her house, we parked in the grass because he's at the top of the hill, but her yard was even higher. So I didn't park. I parked in the grass, and pretty soon the whole street had flooded down at the bottom of the hill, and there was a police car parked on the lawn of a church. He wasn't going anywhere, and there were cars that were actually submerged. It's just like unbelievable because you could see the dome light. I don't know if people were. You could see a dome light under the water.
Wow.
So, the idea of going to this concert is kind of a moot point right now because how are we going to drive for an hour to Fort Worth? And of course, she's upset because she wanted to see Jerry Lee Lewis and all that. And it's like, well, what can I? We can't teleport there. But then we turn on the television news. Well, I don't know if I talked to my parents that lived between Dallas and Fort Worth along the highway that you would have to take to get to Jerry Lee Lewis. There were tornadoes like skipping along the highway.
Whoa.
Like literally. And then in Fort Worth, this was like May 1st, at the beginning of May. So it's probably 95. And I could probably look it up on the phone because there's going to be YouTube evidence of this day because something horrible happened in Fort Worth, not far from the place where Jerry Lee Lewis was playing. I think he was playing at Billy Bob's or, which I think was, no, it wasn't Billy Bob's that was an Urban Cowboy. That was some other place in Houston. I think. Anyway,
It
they
had
had a
famous
May Day
name.
celebration and where they're all out in the park and it was perfectly sunny weather in Fort Worth. Then it started hailing. Oh, that was the other thing I didn't mention. It started hailing too. And these huge hailstones were coming down on these people. And they were out like on a golf course by the Botanic Gardens. And there was nothing to keep these golf balls from hurting them. They could barely, not many trees to get under. So we turn on the news and it says live from Fort Worth, which is where we were planning to go. All these people drenched in blood. It was like the end of the world. And she's still upset that she can't go over to that concert. And you think, well, we could just get our money back, right? They had to have canceled the concert. But no, the concert went on and they were SOBs and didn't give a refund. I should have fought on that one because you'd have to risk life and limb to get to the concert. But we're taking that to Channel 8 News or something. They won't give me a refund. And they expected me to go from Dallas in the middle of that. But, the cool part of the story, that guy that looked like Elvis, I mean, just like Elvis. Like he could have played, he looked more like Elvis than the guy that played him in that movie that came out a few months ago. He rolls up his t-shirt sleeves, goes down into that water and is pulling people out of those cars. And I just pictured that they thought that they were in heaven. It's like, I've died and Elvis is rescuing me from this car to go to heaven.
Awesome. That's great.
It was something else. Yeah. But anyway, that's the story about my brief. And I've known other people that were into that subculture, like for real, that those were little kids that were into it. That were barely, they were like 20. But I've known older people that had huge collections of rockabilly music. And when I would go over to my friend Randy's house, he and his wife had, sometimes you'd go over there and Ronnie Dawson would be over there visiting, who was a Dallas guy from that time period. And one time he was there and Gene Rambo, you can look those guys up. They were big stars, at least in Dallas. Ronnie Dawson was famous for a song called Rockin' Bones that the Cramps later covered. And he was called the Blonde Bomber. But he was, probably in his, how old would he have been then? In his 50s, maybe. He was performing there in the living room and he was trying to get Gene Rambo to, he says, nah, I'm too old for that. But he was trying to get him to that was something. But I've known people that really didn't just spend a few years of their life into that, but like spent their whole life into that. Anyway, you're back.
Yeah. My laptop crashed, but
Oh,
here I am.
yeah, that's what kept happening to me with your show. I would turn the thing on and it would say welcome and it would just spin and spin. And then I try to look on my phone. How do you get past the welcome screen on an
Yep.
Acer computer? And then it would take me an hour to get on or an hour and a half to get on. And I come on the last few minutes and I don't know. That's, I think that happened 2 weeks ago again.
Gillies, the
Gillies.
bar from
Is that
Urban
someone in the
Cowboy.
chat or did you figure that out?
Gillies was the name.
Gillies
of the
was the one.
Yeah, Mickey
But Billy
Gillies.
Bob's is just like Gillies. It had the stupid mechanical bull and all that stuff.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I don't know.
I went through a little phase where I had to learn line dancing, and went to a country and western bar because of a girl. Right? I never bought a hat. I never had the cowboy boots. I would just wear army boots. If I had to wear boots, I would wear my desert boots and a pair of jeans. But I had to do this whole thing because the girl was really hot and I was really interested in her. So I did a whole deal. I made friends with these cowboys, these rednecks. I started hanging out at this bar. We would go early at a couple different nights of the week just to do this stupid line dancing thing. It was horrible.
It was horrible.
Yeah, it was horrible because the girl was just not that cool in the end, and it just didn't pan out that great. And
yeah, I mean, if
making room for it all, pretending to be something else just so I could get with this girl, that's all it was.
Well, if they're into a different type of music, but you've got some things in common, I guess. I mean, I don't know. To a certain degree, if there's the right personality and sense of humor, then you can kind of meet with different tastes and things. But like if Cleo was completely, I won't watch anything that's in black and white, or one of those type of people, I don't think I can handle that. But we were watching a movie from 1936 last night, and she was so grateful for me watching. Of course, I love this movie. But modern country, I don't like for the most part, but old country, I love. And I don't know when it cuts off, almost like the early 70s or mid 70s, it went bad. Like real bad. Like the music of today is bad. I assume that they were playing the modern country in that bar of today.
Oh no, this was like the early '90s, so they were playing really
Well,
good.
okay, 90s of today being
Alabama.
90s.
No, the music was good. I mean, I liked the music. It was just not my scene. I wasn't a guy that would go and I mean, I was a rocker at that time. I wasn't, and I was the bar that I would go to. I wouldn't even go until 10 o'clock at night. You know what I mean? It was like that. I was that kind of a guy. I didn't go out until late because I would hang out after hours. And so these were like kind of quote unquote straight people, like you know, I mean, people with jobs and responsibilities. And I was like, my crowd at the time was not that. It was like edgy. And so
Did you ever take her into one of those places?
I was playing nice to get with this girl, Leslie, and that was the whole reason. I was
yeah. Well, I mean, maybe if she looked like Betty Page, but
yeah, no, she's an attractive girl and she's still around, but she has issues. She had issues even back then, like some sort of trust issues, and there was something something going on in her head. She was like, there was something up. Anyway, I was with her for a long time. It was just a couple weeks. I dated her for like 2 years.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that was a surreal time, that storm. Maybe I could find it on the phone.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Must have been I'll type in Fort Worth May Day 1995 and see if I can find anything about that. Man. You know, I never watched Roseanne or cared about that show, but I find her very interesting now to listen to Roseanne Barr talk on my phone just uh, she's very smart, very you figure when someone's that hated, I mean, they'll do anything to preserve their. They'll cancel one of their top show and fire the person that's named the show's, named after her. They'll destroy Star Wars, Indiana Jones. They'll destroy. They'll do anything to perpetuate their little propaganda string.
Yeah, most popular beer brand in America is now the most hated beer brand in America.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah.
I think it's great.
Me too. I'm happy about everything these two.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm every day something very. I mean, every day something really interesting happens. It's. I feel like they're losing, um, but the only problem is when they're losing. I think they're deranged enough to try something horrible. I don't think I don't think they're going to go down without trying to take a few bites. But let's see what Paulo's saying. I had a funny idea for a comic advert crossover. Skinny guy from the Trolls Atlas crossover sees the Count Dante ad instead, comes back to the beach and performs dim mock on the other guy. Yeah, there was a great parody of that ad
Touch
in
of death.
Crazy Magazine.
I gotta
What?
touch. Oh shit!
Oh, what happened to graphic?
Micah just got hit with the touch of death. Dim lock.
Oh no. Well, let me get the charger for my phone. But there was a parody of the Charles Atlas ad that was perfect, and it must have been done by Marie Severin. And the beginning of it, the guy punches him, and his head just vaporizes. And then the next page, the next panel, his head is bandaged, and she's saying, "I wouldn't let it bother you, Jello arms." And he comes back at the end. Oh, wait a second. No, that's not how it happened. The first picture, instead of the guy punching the 99-pound weakling, he has a bazooka aimed right at his head, and it's blowing his head off. In the next panel, he's got bandages on his head. And at the end, he comes back and punches the guy and vaporizes his head. And then, in the original ad, it said hero of the beach.
Mhm.
And then in the parody, it said "Killer of the Beach." And in the back, the crowd's saying, "Oh, what a killer! He's already famous for it." I bet I could find that on the internet. Let me get the charger. I'll be right back. Ugh. Oh, he's coming back. That's good timing.
I'm just all kinds of hard luck here.
All right, you're back.
Well, I don't know for how long.
Okay.
This happened about 3 weeks ago. I was doing the fossil show, and
You think it has something to do with maybe traffic in your area, like the time of the day or something, or?
I don't know. Then we've had 2 fossil shows where not a problem.
Mhm.
So I just have quirky bad days, I guess. So while I was gone the first time, I could get my wife's phone and see that Comic Collector Geek show.
Mhm.
So I watched the episode. So of course, I find that Graphic Man guy just totally fascinating, hanging on every word he says.
Yeah,
But
magnetism. A lot of
yes, that's right.
Mhm.
But sadly, when I try to go live again, it just crashes. So, no, you guys were talking about the Bud Light, and then you got idiots like Garth Brooks who says, "Well, I'm going to sell Bud Light at my concert," then he gets booed off the stage. I think that's just hilarious.
Yeah. I think it's funny too. I like it. I like it all.
And I recommend everybody get on Twitter. On Twitter, they've taken pictures of Garth Brooks and put him in a rainbow dress. And it can be a little mean-spirited, but sometimes a guy has it coming to him. And he was so pompous. And it's just, I don't know, you could tell when a guy's wife is running the show and telling him what to do and think. Yeah, you could tell he ain't a man's man. So that's the way I see it.
Uh-oh. Okay, I'm back. I think I'm back.
I liked that. What was it? Hamtramck? That town, the Muslim town. I think it's called Hamtramck, where there's that city council Muslim Americans that said no pride in our town or something. They're like,
Right.
I love that, and they're also all Democrats too. So I loved that. That was a story that I really enjoyed. I loved there was some LGBT woman with a clown nose in front. Did you see that in front of the city council?
Yeah.
They're trying to be fun. I love how the left can't meme. So I love how they try to be. They're so cringe and so unfunny. And I love the look on the face of the gentleman in the background. And I just love it all. I love how it's all how it's backfiring.
Yeah, their idea of a meme is get a picture of Trump, put a little Hitler mustache on him, and say, "Look, isn't that something?" Well, okay, so you made half an effort, but it's not funny, it's not original, it's not worth our time. But they think that's hilarious, and all their little liberal buddies they pat each other on the back, going, "Look how great we are at this memeing stuff." No, you're terrible. A first grader could do better than that. And their graphic manipulation skills. Here's where I know what I'm talking about. They're terrible, and they think they're funny. They're not. It's like seeing there's that one lady. She's horrible, but she's this comedian, and if you start naming names, it's probably one of them. And
Chelsea Handler.
That's probably it. I mean, all she talks about is not being satisfied in bed, or women's products,
Right.
and she thinks everybody wants to hear about this. No, you're not funny. Anyway.
Yeah. I was looking up that storm I went through.
Oh yeah, what'd you find?
It started with a report of baseball-sized hail in far west Fort Worth.
Wow.
15 minutes later, about 7:15 on the evening of May 5th, 1995, thousands of revelers at the annual Mayfest Family Festival in Trinity Park were bombarded by baseball-sized hailstones. 60 people were injured at the festival alone. And let's see, the hail grew to softball size as it passed through East Fort Worth, bashing carports and small sheds to the ground. 16 people died in flooding.
Yep.
More than 400 people across North Texas suffered injuries in what was then the second most damaging storm in Texas history. Yeah, it was something. and because we didn't drive into that, we didn't get our. How was it that Jerry Lee Lewis went on and performed? I don't even understand that, but anyway. Ooh, look at that. Oh, no, that's not what I thought it was. I wish there were I wish there was some way. I wish there were cell phones back then where I could have taken a picture of that sky At another time, I was driving through Dallas, and there was a gigantic. It was a natural formed mushroom cloud, and it was the sun was hitting it just right where it was red, but it was gigantic, and it looked like a atomic bomb had just gone off, um, maybe a mile from me, and it went up way up into the heavens, and it somehow that had formed, and it wasn't a storm. It just somehow the clouds had. I don't know what that was, and no one will ever probably believe me.
I believe you.
I mean, it's just, but if you don't have a picture of it, it's just like, well, oh, let me see if I can find that crazy Charles Atlas parody. So, um, crazy.
When I was a kid, I used to have we used to live in the mountains up there, Lake Tahoe, in the snow. And in the
Yeah.
wintertime, we'd get like 4 or 5 feet of snow. And the roads would be really like covered in ice and snow, and cars would just be, not a lot of traffic, and it was sketchy. Well, I used to have this snowsuit, and the inside of this snowsuit was all black fur, like that nylon fur on the inside. Well, I discovered that I could turn this snowsuit inside out and put it on, and I could try to pretend to be a 10-year-old Bigfoot. So here's what I would do. I would turn the snowsuit inside out. Then I would get the hair from Hugo, the Man of 1,000 Faces, the ones that were the sideburns. Well, I would glue them onto my face, put the teeth in, and I glued the eyebrows from Hugo, Man of 1,000 Faces, right?
Yeah.
I pretended I was a baby Bigfoot. Then I would wait behind a tree on the side of the road just for a car to turn, to make the turn. And then I would lumber across and cross the road, pretending like I was that Bigfoot from the one video, the one film footage that we had of the Bigfoot. So I would do that just enough distance to get across the street, and then I would stop and wait and hope to see if the car would react or something. I was like, trolling cars and trying to be a Bigfoot, and trying to create moments like you're recounting. So somebody who thought they might have seen a Bigfoot, but they were really just seeing me.
Yeah, now people do that and film it for YouTube.
Somebody could have pulled out a gun and shot me, right? It's a Bigfoot.
Well, there was some guy, where was he? In England, he thought it'd be funny to stage a prank, or might have been in the US. I'll stage a prank and pretend I'm robbing people with a gun. And then he gets like pretty much tackled. And I don't know if they shot him or what. He says, it's just a prank. It's just a prank for YouTube. It's like, what a moron.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I grew up thinking the Bigfoot was just all fake. And then one guy took that footage you're talking about, the most famous one, and he got it on his computer, and he stabilized it so it's not jerking up and down. And he noticed that when the back of the leg, I can't even, okay. So your leg, when you walk, the back of the leg goes way back. And he said, you don't walk like that. So I got out and I looked in the mirror and I started walking around, and we don't. No human really lifts it like that. And so I thought that seemed to be an interesting theory. That's all I'm going to call it. It doesn't say that, they're real because of that. I'm just saying, either if that's a guy in a suit, he's really overemphasizing a back leg movement that's it's hard to imagine. So if someone says, hey, I think I saw something crazy, I tend to believe them. I certainly don't think, you've been drinking or something like that. So I take it with a grain of salt and go, could be. That's my approach. That way I'm not committal. It sounds like I'm on the fence, a politician, but I don't know. I don't know what that was. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know either. I haven't seen that theory though, but it sounds like it could be possible.
Yeah, I remember when we lived near Seattle, Washington, when I was in 5th grade. We went to see one of those documentaries that would play for 2 weeks that they'd advertise on TV from something mysterious Bigfoot. I think Rod Serling narrated it or something.
Something like that.
I remember that. Then I was really scared about because that was kind of in that area. I wonder if the Bigfoot will like be looking in my window one night.
Yeah.
Right.
And as open-minded as I am, these History Channel or Discovery Channel that say we're going to go hunt Bigfoot and we're going to film everything, we're going to turn this into a big TV show. I have no patience for that. So I say, if you find something, let me know. Until then, don't bother me. So
Yeah.
I try to be level-headed, but it's just getting you to watch, and then so you can watch their commercials. And
Well, if they had found something, you kind of would have been worldwide
Yeah.
news. You wouldn't find out at the end of a TV show.
Yeah.
You would think. Yeah, you would think. If they had discovered a new species, like that.
Right. Of course, now if they find something out like that is real, they until
Oh, we lost you again, Micah.
Yeah, everybody's having trouble with their Wi-Fi.
I knew a girl that claimed that she had been abducted multiple times. So her thing was that she was an abduction victim. So she suffered from the mental health disorders and she had diagnoses, but she said that the basis for these diagnoses and disorders that she had were abduction, that she had been abducted multiple times by aliens that come to her house. And
aliens.
At the beginning, when I first met her, it was a professional relationship. So I had to because it was a professional relationship, I had to get all this information. I needed to know where she lived, dates and times and things about all of these abductions, whatever she could recount, because it was part of the deal. She had to tell me. But at the end of admitting this girl and then maybe treating her for a week or two, I told my coworker, and he agreed with me. We're both like, I almost believe this girl at this point. We're like, it's like, because she was so, if she wasn't telling the truth, she completely believed she was telling the truth. Okay. She wasn't lying or making shit up or trying to get attention. She believed that she had been abducted and probed.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Some people think that's what they're setting up, that they're going to reveal that they're aliens, and that's going to be how they get out of. That's how they'll distract everybody from all the corruption. And they can stage just about anything.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to crash again. That's what I was basically getting at before I crashed.
Yeah, I know.
If they find out something's out there that's real, they hold off on it, and one of their buddies gets in trouble with the district attorney, and they need to get that off the front page. They'll go, "Oh, look over here, something crazy, in the woods." So
it's just like stage magicians. They're it's like, look here, while I'm doing something over here, and they're trying to distract us from. Look at what Trump is doing.
That's right.
You're arresting him. Meanwhile, for exactly what we've been doing, except he really hasn't been doing it. Yeah. Wow.
That's crazy.
I hear more and more talk about that. They're going to try to get Newsom in.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's their plan because they're very worried about Kennedy.
Yeah, they are.
So they have to distract everybody with, look at Newsom. Isn't he great? Look at his hair. It's wonderful.
Yeah, the Kennedy This problem is there's a lot of women. I know this will sound bad. There's a lot of women that won't vote for him because of his voice.
Yeah.
And which might have been why some of the founding fathers said, well, let's not have women vote because they're going to sometimes vote for the guy that's the more attractive. And then you're not going to get people like Lincoln ever as
Been
president.
that way all along.
I
Yeah,
think,
I've got to make a call and I'm going to get something to eat. It's good seeing you guys.
oh yeah,
Okay,
I'm going
guys.
to be gone here before too long. I got to pick her up at 6:15 my time. It's nice talking to you.
Stay. Have a great time, Micah.
Bye.
Thank
All right. Thanks.
So Micah, I guess we still got to go through more of those books over in Arizona. Have
Yeah.
you tried since to go through more?
No, in fact, I gave him a heads up that I'm going to be internet lockout for a few days, and so he won't hear from me for a while. So he's cool with that. But he's been busy or tired, he says. So, and I don't ever want to push him because
No.
I figure I don't know if he has really a good assistance or not, but he seems to be just nonstop all day long. I don't, and everybody's coming through that door.
Oh,
So,
he's the guy that runs the store.
Yeah.
Sometimes you hear other people answer the phone. They're just his good friends that are customers, I think, that answer the
Wow.
phone for him. He I thought he had some people that work for him at first, but no, he's the guy.
Yep.
So
while I crashed the first time on my wife's phone, I was able to see the episode where Comic Collector Geek interviewed me, and that guy managed to get like 9 commercial breaks in that thing.
oh,
So
my wife paid for, I don't know what she paid.
ad
but
blocker.
she paid for the premium where you don't have commercials.
Yeah.
And it's on my account, not hers. And so I haven't had commercials in a while. Because with that, you can download a video. And I was needing to download a video for John Goris of a video that he put up on YouTube, but somehow got erased from his computer, some animation he spent some time with. So I recorded it from him off of YouTube, but I thought, well, I asked her is there a way we could pay and get that so I can actually download and actually have that video for him of the same quality. But I remember his videos, he has commercials, very like every 5 minutes on his longer shows. I remember that.
I hope a lot of people watch it. I hope he gets a lot of ad revenue from it. I just hope it doesn't irritate people that, it's not right in the middle of a sentence, but it's getting ready to be something. And then here's another ad break. And,
well, I don't know if you can, I think there's a way, I don't know, because I'll probably never get to 1,000 subscribers, but I think you can kind of decide where the commercials go, or maybe it just automatically every few minutes. I don't know. It seems like you don't often hear people say, and now a word from our sponsor. It's usually commercials come in the middle of sentences.
Yeah.
But I think that's one way he finances his comic collecting. So
could be.
Yeah.
Got 2.79 thousand. So that's, close to 3,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
If
How many views has your interview had?
like 66.
Oh, that's good.
I don't know if Saturday's a really good day for that or not. I would think a Monday night would be better, but
I think he forgot that you did a Wednesday stream because he went on in the middle of the 4-color fossils the other night.
well, I don't begrudge anybody. That may have been when the other guys could all agree on a time or something.
Yeah, that's true. But it's like everyone should be watching your show. It's like, why are they not watching your show?
Yeah.
But I don't think, I think it's a different kind of comic collecting.
Right.
They're more big game hunters.
Oh, yeah.
And we're more like, look at this deer I shot, or
Yeah.
I got this rabbit.
Yeah.
And they're
Yeah.
more like, here, look at this rhino, look at this lion's head.
Yep. Definitely.
And I think that's more, yeah, but I guess as long as all the comics are preserved for the future,
Yeah.
I guess however you do it, as long as they're preserved and not torn in half in the middle of an auction.
Exactly.
Um,
Well, I'm probably going to crash here pretty soon, so I better.
yeah, and I gotta be over there at 6:15 at 6:08. So this is actually the perfect time to end it.
All right, guys.
This is just, I just came on here to just shoot
Sure.
the breeze with people.
Sure.
Anyway,
Glad to
I'll
be.
take
See ya.
See you Wednesday. Bye.
All right.
And everybody, this wasn't a comic book showing stream. I was just knew I'd be home alone for a couple hours and just wasn't feeling good. And I thought I'd distract myself from my miseries. So hopefully this was entertaining, watching a blank screen for the first 20 minutes of this episode. Anyway, I will see you real soon. Maybe I'll do I don't know. What if you've got ideas or stuff I should show? If you put it in the comments down below, I'd appreciate it. If you want to see Silver Age, if you want to see Dennis the Menace, if you want to see Disney comics, let me know. Give me an idea. If you want to see monster magazines, and I'll try to follow whatever you guys say. And Todd E. Walnut says, "Have a good night, Gratu." Same with you, Todd. And please get in touch with me if you want to order some episodes of Tomb of Terror. I don't want to keep advertising it, but I hope someone will order some because that would be wonderful. And I'm going to do a contest at some point and give away a few of those episodes. Paulo, good night. And I will see you guys real soon. Take care. End broadcast.